We've all seen the horrific images. Hi, I'm Dr. Mark, an animal advocate, rescuer, and editor at Pet News USA, Pawsitive Personals investigative journalist, published author of many animal books. Over the years, I've seen firsthand the devastating effects of animal abuse and neglect, along with the frustrating lack of enforcement when it comes to protecting animals. Too often, we take to social media to express our outrage, but that alone won't bring the changes we desperately need. In my own backyard here in Washington Parish, Louisiana, we don't have animal ordinances in place, we don't have an animal control officer, and to my knowledge, none of our law enforcement officers are trained in handling animal abuse cases. Unfortunately, I know this isn't an isolated issue. Communities across the country face similar challenges. In today's video, I want to talk about how we can move beyond venting online and start putting pressure on the people who can actually make a difference, our local government officials and law enforcement. These are the people who can create and enforce animal protection laws, but they need to hear from us. We must demand action. My goal with this video is to show you how your voice can help push for better animal protection and ensure law enforcement is equipped to handle these cases. This is a national issue, but it starts at the local level. Let's work together to make a real difference for the animals that need us. So, let's get started. The emaciated dogs chained in backyards, the cats crammed into tiny cages, the videos of animals being abused. It makes your blood boil. You might even share it on social media, adding an angry comment. But here's the hard truth. Clicking share isn't enough. Social media can be a powerful tool for raising awareness. It can bring these terrible situations to light. It can generate outrage. But outrage without action is meaningless. It won't save those animals suffering in silence. We need to channel that anger into tangible change. Think about it. Have you ever seen a politician change their vote because of a tweet? Have you ever seen a law passed because someone posted an angry rant on Facebook? Probably not. Real change requires more than online outrage. We need to take that passion and direct it towards the people who have the power to make a difference, our local officials. They are the ones who can enact and enforce laws. They are the ones who can allocate resources to animal control and protection services. They are the ones who can hold abusers accountable. While social media can raise awareness, it often falls short of creating real change. To truly combat animal abuse, we need to pressure local officials and take concrete actions. Let's explore how we can make a difference together. Every community deserves safe streets, good schools, and yes, protection for its animals. Animal welfare is not some fringe issue. It's a reflection of our values. It's a matter of public safety. And it's a responsibility that falls squarely on the shoulders of our local governments. Think about it this way. We have laws to protect children, the elderly, and even our property. Why wouldn't we have strong laws to protect animals from cruelty and neglect? Animals are living, feeling creatures. They deserve our compassion and protection. Local governments are responsible for enacting and enforcing animal cruelty laws. These laws should cover a range of offenses, from neglect and abandonment to dogfighting and other forms of organized animal abuse. But laws are just words on paper without enforcement. That's why it's crucial that local governments prioritize animal welfare by providing adequate funding and resources to animal control and protection services. Police officers, animal control officers, and prosecutors are on the front lines of animal protection. They are the ones responding to calls about neglected animals, investigating cases of abuse, and bringing perpetrators to justice. Their job is not easy. It's often heartbreaking and emotionally draining, and it requires specialized training and resources, but too often, animal abuse cases get put on the back burner. Why? Because law enforcement agencies are often stretched thin, dealing with limited resources and competing priorities. They might not have the manpower, the training, or the specialized equipment to effectively investigate and prosecute animal cruelty cases. This is unacceptable. Dr. Mark, that you please subscribe to our channel. We thank you. Let's continue. Animal abuse is a serious crime. It is often a precursor to violence against humans, and it deserves to be treated as such by law enforcement. Here's the brutal reality. Local governments often treat animal control and protection as an afterthought. It's an easy target for budget cuts. It's not seen as sexy or important as other issues. And frankly, animals don't vote, so politicians are less likely to prioritize their needs. This lack of resources has real consequences. It means fewer animal control officers on the streets to respond to calls about abuse and neglect. It means longer wait times for investigations. It means cases getting dropped because of a lack of evidence or resources to pursue them. And ultimately, it means more animals suffering. Animals left to languish in deplorable conditions. Animals subjected to unspeakable cruelty. Animals denied the basic care they need to survive. We can't stand idly by while this happens. We need to demand better from our elected officials. We need to make it clear that animal welfare is a priority. We need to hold them accountable for protecting all members of our community, including the four-legged ones. Section 5. The power of your voice, why you need to speak up. In a democracy, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. The same principle applies to animal welfare. If we want to see change, we need to make our voices heard. We need to make it clear to our elected officials that animal abuse is unacceptable and that we demand action. Remember, politicians are elected to represent their constituents. That includes you. They need to hear from the people they represent. They need to know that animal welfare is an issue that their constituents care about, and they need to understand that their actions or inaction on this issue will have consequences come election time. You might think that your voice doesn't matter. You might think that one person can't make a difference. But you'd be surprised at the power of a single voice, especially when it's amplified by many others. When people come together and demand change, things happen. Laws get passed, funding gets allocated, and animals' lives are saved. Section 6. Making noise, making a difference, how to pressure local officials. So how do you go about pressuring your local officials? It's actually easier than you might think. You don't need to be a political activist or a social media influencer. You just need to be willing to make your voice heard. Here's the good news. You have more power than you realize. You have the power of the vote. You have the power of your voice. And you have the power of your wallet. Use those powers. Contact your local officials. Let them know that animal welfare is a priority for you. Demand that they allocate more resources to animal control and protection. Ask them what they are doing to address this issue in your community. Remember, you're not asking for a favor. You're demanding that your elected officials do their job and represent your interests. Section 7. Phone calls, your direct line to change. In the age of email and social media, there's still something powerful about a phone call. It shows that you're serious. It allows you to express your concerns directly, and it's harder for someone to ignore a phone call than an email buried in their inbox. Find the phone numbers for your mayor, city council members, and local representatives. Call their offices and let them know what's on your mind. Be polite but firm. Explain why animal welfare is important to you and what actions you want them to take. Don't be afraid to call repeatedly. Elected officials have staff who answer their phones and track constituent concerns. The more calls they receive about an issue, the more likely it is to get on the official's radar. Section 8. Emails. Leaving a paper trail for accountability. Emails are another effective way to reach your local officials. They allow you to express your thoughts in a clear and concise manner, and they create a written record of your communication, which can be helpful for holding officials accountable. When writing an email, be sure to clearly state your purpose in the subject line. For example, concerned about animal abuse in our community. Identify yourself as a constituent and provide your address. Keep it brief and to the point. Be respectful but firm in your message. Proofread carefully for any errors. Remember, you're trying to persuade your elected officials to take action. A well-written email can be a powerful tool for advocacy. Section 9. Public meetings, putting animal welfare on the agenda. Most local governments hold public meetings where citizens can voice their concerns and engage in discussions about community issues. These meetings are a valuable opportunity to put animal welfare on the agenda and hold your elected officials accountable. Find out when and where your city council, county commission, or other relevant bodies hold their public meetings. Attend these meetings and speak during the public comment period. Prepare your remarks in advance. Be clear, concise, and passionate. Share your concerns about animal abuse in your community and urge your elected officials to take action. Public meetings are also an opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals and build coalitions for change. Section 10. The stakes are high. The lives of animals depend on us. We can't ignore the plight of animals suffering in silence. Their lives depend on us. They depend on our voices. They depend on our willingness to stand up and demand better from our elected officials. Animal abuse is not a victimless crime, it's a stain on our community. It's a reflection of our values. And it's something that we have the power to change. We need to remember that animals can't speak for themselves. They can't vote. They can't lobby for their own interests. They rely on us to be their voice, to be their advocates, to be their protectors. Section 11. Don't stay silent. Be the voice for the voiceless. Change doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, effort, and persistence. But it starts with each of us taking action. It starts with refusing to stay silent. Don't underestimate the power of your voice. Don't underestimate the impact you can make. Call your local officials. Send them emails. Attend public meetings. Make your voice heard. Be the voice for the voiceless. Be the change you want to see in the world. The animals are counting on you.